Hello, everybody. I welcome to all of you in my video lecture entitled Gram Swaraj. Gram Swaraj means what? Gram Swaraj, a special term coined by Mahatma Gandhi and later developed by Vinoba Bhave, which promotes conversion of every village into a self-sufficient autonomous entity where all the system and facilities for dignified living are available. Gandhian ideology has inspired to keep human happiness with sustainable growth. Swaraj is self rule with continuous efforts towards independence and self reliance. Gram Swaraj or village self rule is decentralized, human centric, and non exploiting. It adheres to working towards simply village economy and to achieve self-sufficiency. Concept of Gram Swaraj means what? The idea of Gram Swaraj is that it is a complete republic independent of its neighbors for its own vital wants and yet interdependent for many others in which dependence is necessary. Thus, every village first concern will be grow its own food, crops, and cotton for its clothes. It should have a reserve for its cattle, recreation, and playground for adults and children. Then, if there is more land available, it will grow useful money crops, thus excluding ganja, tobacco, opium, and the likes. The village will maintain a village theatre, school, and public hall. It will have its own water works, ensuring clean water supply. Basic principles of village Swaraj is number one, supremacy of man, full employment. Number two, body labor. Number three, equality. Number four, trusteeship. Number five, decentralization. Number six, Swadeshi. Seven, self sufficiency. Eight is cooperation. Number nine is Satyagraha. 10 is equality of religion. 11 is Panchayati Raj. And 12 is Nai Talim. Supremacy of manful employment is what? According to me, the economic constitution of India and for the matter of that of the world should be such that no one under it should suffer from wants of good and clothing. In other words, everybody should be able to get sufficient work to enable him to make the two ends meet. And this ideal can be universally realized only if the means of production of the elementary necessities of life remain in the control of the masses. These should be freely available to all as God, air, and water are or ought to be. They should not be made a vehicle of traffic for exploitation of others. Their monopolization by any country, nation, or group of persons would be unjust. The neglect of this simple principle is the cause of destitution that we witness today, not only in this unhappy land but in other parts of world too. What is body labor? Earn the bread by the sweat of the bow, says the Bible. Sacrifice may be of many kinds. One of them may well be bread labor. If all labored for their bread and no more, then there would be enough food and enough leisure for all. Then there would be no cry of overpopulation, no disease, and no such miseries as we around. Such labor will be the highest form of sacrifice man will do. Man will no doubt do many other things either through their body or through their minds. But all this will be labor of love for the common good. There will then be no rich, no poor, none high and none low, no touchable and no untouchable. Equality. True economic never militates against the highest ethical standard. Just as all true ethics to be worked, its name must at the same time be also good economic. An economic that inculcate worship and enable the strong amass wealth at the expenses of weak is a false and dismal science. It is spelled that true economics, on the other hand, stand for social justice. It promotes the good of all equally, including the weakest, and is indispensable for decent life. Trusteeship is at the root of this doctrine of equal distribution must lie that on the trusteeship of the wealthy for superfluous wealth possessed by them. For according to the doctrine, they may not possess a rupee more than their neighbors. How is this be brought about? Non-violently, or should the wealthy be disposed of their possessions? To do this, we would naturally have to resort to violence. This non-violent action cannot benefit society. Society will be the poorer, for it will lose the gift of a man who knows how to accumulate wealth. Therefore, non-violent way is evidently superior. The rich man will be left in possession of his wealth, of which he will use what he reasonably required for his personal need, and will act as a trustee for the remainder to be used for the society. In this argument, honesty of the part of the trustee is assumed. What is decentralization? If India is to evolve along non-violent lines, it will have to decentralize many things. Centralization cannot be sustained and defended without adequate force. Simple home from which there is nothing to take away require no policing. The palaces of the rich must have a strong guard to protect them against the dacoits. So must huge factories rurally organized. India will run less risk of foreign invasion than urbanized India, well equipped with military, naval, and air force. Swadeshi. Swadeshi is the spirit in us which resists us to the use and service of our immediate surrounding to the exclusion of the more remote. If we follow the Swadeshi doctrine, it would be your duty and mine to find out neighbors who can supply our wants and to teach them to supply them where they do not know how to proceed. Assuming that there are neighbors who are in wants of healthy occupation, then every village of India will almost be a self-supporting and self-contained until exchanging only such necessary commodities with other villages as are not locally producible. This may all sound nonsensical. Well, India is a country of nonsense. It is nonsensical to park one's throat with thirst when a kindly and yet to thousands of Hindus would rather die of thirst than drink water from Mohammedan household. These nonsense sensational man can also, once they are convinced that their religion demand that they should wear garments manufactured in India only and eat food only grown in India, decline to wear any other clothing or food. Self sufficiency. The unit of society should be a village or call it a manageable small group of people who would, in the ideal, be self sufficient in the matter of their vital requirements as a unit. Cooperation. The system of cooperation was far more necessary for agriculturalists than for mat weavers. The land belongs to the state, therefore, it yielded the largest return when it was worked cooperatively. Satyagraha. Non-violence, with its technique of satyagraha and non-cooperation, will be the sanction of the village community. Equality of religion. Every religion has its full and equal place. We all live of a majestic tree whose trunk cannot be shaken off its roots, which are deep down in the bowels of the earth. The mightiest of wind cannot move it. Panchayati Raj. Every panchayat of 5 adult men or women being villagers or village minded shall form a unit. Two such contiguous panchayats shall form a working party under a leader elected from among themselves. When there are 100 such panchayats, the 51st grade leader shall elect from among themselves a second grade leader and so on. The first grade leader meanwhile working under the second grade. Parallel group of 200 panchayats shall continue to be formed till they cover the whole of India. The second grade leader may elect when they deem necessary from among themselves a chief who will, during pleasure, regulate and command all the groups. Nai Talim. By education, I mean an all round drawing out of the best in child and man body, mind and spirit. Literacy is not the end of education, nor even the beginning. It is only one of the means whereby man and woman can be educated. Literacy in itself is no education. I would therefore being the child's education by teaching it a useful handicraft and enabling it to produce from the moment it begins its training. Thus, every school can be made self supporting, the condition being that the state takes over the manufactures of this school. Thank you very much for listening my lecture.